So I guess first of all, how does it feel? I mean, we've obviously been through a curtailed season, and then we sort of stopped and started, and now you sort of had a pre-season at the end of the season, and then it's probably been 7 months. I think it's about 7 months since you've kicked the football in anger. So how does it feel actually having a squad and being back on a pitch playing proper football?
It's good, and it's good to have the ability to play real football. That means something. That's actually counting towards something.
Yeah.
Back in April, it felt like you were just playing friendlies, almost for the sake of it. We did get things from it around players and style of play and formation and things, but ultimately we were doing it just to get the players back together and get them out of the house, because I think everybody was going stir crazy at that point. But the last game was Widnes, which was October. So it's just bonkers. It's just been so stop-start. It feels like the fourth pre-season we've done in a year, and I think the players just want to get going again now.
How much of a toll has it took on some of the players? You've got a good mix of some older players and younger players, and I think probably look at players like Andy Keogh, who coming towards the latter end of his career and not playing football for, well, like you've just said, since October. Has that taken its toll on some of the players, both older and younger?
It has, in different ways. So if you look at the Andy and Ben, who are at the latter end of the playing career, missing such a big slice of football has really impacted from a fitness perspective. They've tried to do their own things. They've tried to get out and run and gym and all those sorts of things, but you can't replicate the intensity of football, the twisting and turning. And you can see it with both of them, that they've joined in sessions and then they've had little hamstring niggles. And Andy came off of the Chaddison game because he was feeling his hamstring. He's felt his Achilles and missed the game because of that. So it looks like it's quite difficult to get them on a run now. But Andy's back in the fold from tomorrow, so hopefully we can get him fit and firing. Ben obviously is taking a little bit of time away following the birth of his twins, which is understandable. So it'll be a little bit of time till we see him back on the pitch. But at the other end, I think we've also missed out on the benefits of some of our younger players having a season with the likes of Steve Mason and Andy and Ben, because they can learn an awful lot from players around, not just on the pitch, but manner in the dressing room, how to manage a game, mentality, psychology, and they've missed out on that season of learning and developing. So it kind of impacts both ends, which is why it was so important to kind of get back quite early and start to build that team bond up.
And so obviously we've just finished the 5th of away friendlies for pre-season. Probably safe to say it's different conditions in terms of weather and all sorts of different factors taking part. How do you feel it's gone? Are you happy with what's happened, and have you learned anything from pre-season so far?
It's felt quite disjointed. I don't think there's been a game where I've had what I would consider the strongest 11 out, which is fine, because pre-season is about finding out about players in different positions and looking at formations and styles of play. We've had a lot of trialists come through, and that's been for a number of reasons. Players have been away, and it's hard to begrudge somebody a holiday when they've not been able to do so for 18 months. We've had lads carrying injuries. We've had people having to isolate. So actually, we've had as few as 12 players at training sometimes. What it has meant is some of our young lads from the current under 17s last year and the 16s got the run at Chidleaf Nomads, and I think that's great, and gives us an opportunity to now start to just feed them in a little bit through the season into training and have a look at them and start to create that pathway, which is important. But for pre-season, for me, it's not about results. You don't win anything in July. So, it was poor the other night. We deservedly lost to Winsford, having started so well. But what I've learned from that are some things around how we play and some things we need to do on the training ground to just tweak slightly what we're asking of the players. They're good enough to do it. They'll take that on board, and that'll leave us in a better place. And I'd rather learn that now than in August when the real stuff starts.
Yeah. And you're happy with the way the squad's taking shape? Obviously, we've had a few in, few out so far.
Yeah. We're at 15. We had a conversation after the game on Tuesday with one of the players. I think he'll sign. We probably then need maybe another hard to say. We were looking 18, 19, so maybe another 2 or 3, and we've probably got those around the squad at the moment, training with us and on trial. But with the league putting pretty clear guidance around what will happen with should we get isolation or COVID outbreaks or anything like that, and making it pretty clear that they're not going to suspend games very easily. We just need to think about how we have sufficient depth, and that's why I've been speaking to a number of league clubs around loan players. So that's an opportunity for us to bring some players in temporarily, and why we're looking at some of the local sides around and about, and kind of who they've got, and potentially dual regging some players, and we might need to do that this season, and equally they may need to do the same. So I think it's about being realistic, trying to keep the core squad together of 18 or so players, but making sure we've got access to some players around that so we can field squads should anything happen.
And then we've obviously moved into now a stretch of 3 home games over the next, up from Saturday to Saturday. How does it feel going back to play at Seal Park after such a long time away?
I'm excited because I don't feel I ever saw Seal Park at its best, because every game we played last year was under some kind of restriction, limited numbers, people socially distanced, all those kind of factors. And whilst we had a couple of good results and the Rams bottom one stands out, I still don't feel we got to see it at its best. So I'm hoping we get good weather, decent crowds on, especially the Staley Bridge game with being a local derby on a Saturday afternoon. And we collectively, including the players who never, very few of them have experienced it, can actually see what the club's all about, because it is a bit of a differentiator. I think people will enjoy playing in front of that crowd. How could you not?
Yeah, definitely. And then I suppose last of all, I think last time we spoke, we talked about what might happen to the league, and with an extra league being thrown in. Obviously, now that's been revealed. What's your thoughts on the teams that we come up against this year? It looks like quite a challenging league, to be fair.
Yeah, I think probably tougher than if we'd have been split into a northern league. Probably slightly better on travel, but we've got 5 or 6 clubs from Merseyside. They'll be tough. Never an easy game against a team from over there. We knew we'd have Workington. I think they'll be strong again. But then we've got teams like Leek and Newcastle and Kidsgrove who are always season campaigners, are always tough sides to play against. So I would say it's probably the toughest of the 3 Northern Premier League Division 1 divisions. But that's fine. You've got to beat the better teams to progress in football. It just gives us a challenge, and I think we can be competitive. I've said before, I think we should be up and around challenging for the playoffs. I don't think we can win it. I don't think we've got the budget and the strength in depth to compete with some of the real big hitters in the league currently. But I think we've got quality in. We can be around the playoffs and hopefully keep that group together to build on that experience. And it's all about building into it for the year after almost, but equally not making up the numbers. Not here to make up the numbers.
Do you feel like a lot of the squad that have stayed with us from last season, particularly a lot of the players who've come up from Northwest counties and have come through that path and played with us last season? Do you think, although it was a curtailed season last season, that it's a big help for them going into this season that they got 8 to 9 games at this level under the belt already?
It really is, and I think a really good example of that is Jordan Butterworth. If you look at him last year, he came in and I think at times when he played central midfield, which is his position, even though he played right back quite a bit last season, he struggled to impose himself on games. I thought he lacked a little bit of physicality, and we had a good conversation around that, around what he needs to do to be better. And he kind of attached himself to Andy quite a lot and sort of learns from Andy. And he's used the lockdown to get fitter, stronger, and he's come back like a much improved version of himself. He's Monday aside, when I think he's the playing 48 hours after the previous game probably caught them a little bit, but Monday aside, he's been running games, and I've known he's had it in it. It's nice to see him start to unlock that and realise what you need to be successful at this level.